Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tips. My name is Julian, and this is that weekend episode that I put out every single week where I suggest players that you should consider adding to help you secure your win for the week, help you catch up if you're behind, or help you keep that lead if you're already ahead. Before we get started though, guys, please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and follow me on Twitter at FantasyTipped. I'm always posting stuff on Twitter to help you guys have the best possible fantasy week every single week. Now, without further ado, let's jump right into the content, and let's start with the schedule for this weekend. So as you can see here, there are 8 teams playing on Friday, 16 teams playing on Saturday, and 8 teams playing on Sunday. So go ahead and check your lineup and see where you have room to put players in your lineup. Likely it'll be Friday and Sunday, and you can stream a guy who plays both Friday and Sunday. But if you have room in your lineup on Saturday as well, that gives you a lot more options for people that you can stream. So first we're going to look into players that play both Friday and Saturday, and there are 2 teams that play on those 2 days. Those teams are the New York Islanders and the Winnipeg Jets. So jumping into some forwards that I would consider streaming for those 2 days from those 2 teams that I just mentioned, the number one guy that I would consider is Andrew Copp of the Winnipeg Jets. He's currently seeing second line minutes on a line with Kyle Connor and is also on Winnipeg's top power play, also with Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler. That's some pretty good deployment. Therefore, Andrew Copp is a really, really great add for this weekend if somehow he is available in your league. The number 2 guy that I would go after is Brock Nelson, who's been very, very hot lately. Probably the Islanders' hottest player right now, so definitely someone worth considering to pick up. Then I have Paul Stastny of the Winnipeg Jets playing second power play, but top line with Blake Wheeler and Mark Scheifele, and therefore, yeah, it's someone that I like to look at right now for sure. Then I have Oliver Wahlstrom of the New York Islanders playing on the third line with Pajot and with Parise, but he's been honestly one of their best players the entire season. I don't think the coach likes him that much. That's why his deployment isn't the best, but he's a really good player, shoots the puck a nice amount, and he's able to score some pretty nice goals. Don't know why the coach doesn't deploy him a little bit better, but he does see top power play time, so he's bound to score you at least a point over 2 games this weekend. Then I have Anders Lee of the New York Islanders. Top line, top power play, but has only managed about a point every 2 games this season. Kind of disappointing for Anders Lee, but he is playing top line with Barzal, and again, top power play as well with Barzal, so the opportunities are definitely there, and he's kind of hot right now. Next I have Cole Perfetti, who's playing on that second line with Andrew Copp and with Kyle Connor, which is pretty solid for deployment, and also he's getting second power play time in Winnipeg, and Winnipeg's second power play does get a pretty decent amount of power play time, so it's not a terrible place to be. And Perfetti is a really good prospect and so far hasn't looked too bad, so I don't mind streaming him. Then I have Jean-Gabriel Pajot, and he's definitely not my favorite option, but he does play on a line with Wahlstrom, and he also does see top power play time, so the deployment isn't bad, and he's definitely good for you, especially if you're in a league with face-off wins, because he's pretty good at that. And then I have Anthony Beauvillier, who's the next guy on the Islanders that'll get you points, but right now he's being deployed on the 4th line, so I'm definitely not super high on him. But there's not really anybody better on the Islanders roster. Maybe Josh Bailey, but Beauvillier would probably be the guy I would go to if everybody else on this list is already taken, but obviously not super high on him. Alright, so what if you want to stream someone for those Friday and Sunday games? Those are the 2 nights that have the least amount of games this weekend. The only team that actually plays both those nights, unfortunately, is the Dallas Stars. So if you do want someone that plays both Friday and Sunday, you have to pick someone from the Dallas Stars. The number 1 guy I would grab from Dallas Star, who's low enough roster to include here, is Jamie Benn, who's 57% rostered, playing on a line with Tyler Seguin and Denis Gurianov, 2 guys that are playing pretty well right now, so I definitely do not mind this stream, especially for just those 2 nights. Then I have Denis Gurianov, who I already mentioned. He's really playing pretty well right now, so definitely someone I don't mind grabbing if I want someone to stream for those 2 nights. The next guy I would grab is Esa Lindell. Usually I only include forwards on these lists, but because there's only Dallas, I'm going to include defensemen as well, and Esa Lindell will give you a nice floor with hits and blocks and shots on goal, and that's why I have him at number 3. Then I have Ryan Suter, and he doesn't do much for peripherals. He's the complete opposite of Lindell. He doesn't do much blocking or hitting or shooting, but he will pitch in an assist every couple of games, and therefore is not the worst pickup in the world. Then I have Alexander Radulov, who's playing on the second power play only and the third line. He's been atrocious all year, but he's still better than anybody else you can grab on Dallas. So if you're desperate, he is an option. cross your fingers and hope that he gets you a point or two. Then I have Yanni Hakanpää of the Dallas Stars, obviously. He will give you a nice floor because he likes to hit a lot. So if you are in a league that counts hits, then Hakanpää is an option. If you're in a league without hits, do not even consider Hakanpää. He's not going to do anything for you. But if you count hits, he'll give you a safe floor on both Friday and Sunday. Not going to do anything crazy, but he will at least give you a floor. Then I have Luke Glendening of the Dallas Stars, and I don't love him either, but he's playing on the third line. And he'll get you more points than anybody else on the team. And he is really good at winning faceoffs, and he will hit a little bit too, so there's a little bit of a floor, but not super high on him, that's for sure. Okay, so last but not least for forwards, if you need someone to stream for those Saturday and Sunday games, there are two teams that play both Saturday and Sunday. Those teams are Montreal and Ottawa. The number one guy I would stream is Tyler Toffoli of the Montreal Canadiens, playing on a really solid line with Suzuki and with Arturi Lehkonen. That line's doing really well right now, and Toffoli and Suzuki are also both on that top power play. And ever since coming back from injury, Toffoli's been really solid. He should definitely be over 50% rostered, and he's definitely the number one guy to stream if you need somebody. And then I have Tim Stützle of the Ottawa Senators playing on the top line, top power play with Brady Tkachuk. I like that deployment a lot, and he's been performing pretty well. So Josh Norris and Drake Batherson is going to be out a while, so Stützle is going to have a pretty elevated role for a little while, which is really nice for him. Definitely someone you would stream for this weekend and also hold on to for the future. Ottawa plays 4 games next week, so even just for next week, he's definitely someone you should consider keeping in your lineup. Then I have Connor Brown of the Ottawa Senators, 20% rostered, and he's been really solid. In the 2 games I've seen since he came back from his injury, he's gotten a goal and 2 assists. Pretty freaking good. He's getting second line deployment, top power play deployment, and he has really good chemistry with Nick Paul, which is why I really like adding Connor Brown, and even someone you can keep for next week as well. And I have Alex Formenton, who's playing on the line with Connor Brown and with Nick Paul. Been playing pretty decently. Don't mind the ad there. Then I have Mike Hoffman, who's playing on a line with Gallagher, which isn't bad, and he's also getting top power play deployment, which is where Mike Hoffman really shines. He's been doing pretty decently as well, so do not mind the stream there. Then I have Nick Paul, who I already mentioned has really great chemistry with Connor Brown and has looked really good lately, so that's a solid streamer as well. Then I have Adam Gaudette, who's 1% rostered and is playing top line with Brady Tkachuk and Tim Stützle and is seeing a decent amount of power play time as well. Adam Gaudette is a really good ad in a deep league for those 2 nights and also for next week. Then I have Arturi Lehkonen, who I already mentioned is playing on the top line as well as the top power play with Suzuki and with Mike Hoffman, and he's been performing pretty well lately. Lehkonen makes for a really good ad. Then I have Tyler Ennis, who is seeing some top line time. In the last game I watched, he got some top line time with Brady Tkachuk and second power play time. So he's not getting the same deployment as he did before the All-Star break. That was really, really good. Now it's a little bit worse, but I don't absolutely hate him for a streamer either, since he's relatively hot right now. Then I have Jake Evans, who has 5 points in his last 5 games for Montreal. He's centering the third line, so obviously not the best in the world, but the dude's pretty hot right now, so why not stream him, and hopefully he'll be able to get you a point or 2 this weekend. Then I have Evans' line mate, Josh Anderson, and he hasn't been that great this year, hasn't been that great lately, but there's not really anybody better than Josh Anderson this low down on the list. Then I have Christian Dvorak, who will be centering Gallagher and Mike Hoffman, assuming that he is healthy and ready to go. He definitely should be. Christian Dvorak is someone, between those guys, he can definitely get you a point or 2. And he's really good at faceoffs as well. So if that's something you need for a Cats League or whatever, he's a good guy for that as well. Then I have Zach Sanford of the Ottawa Senators playing on the 4th line right now alongside Austin Watson. And both of them will give you a pretty safe floor because they like to hit and they shoot a little bit, but neither guy is really someone I'm super high on. All right, so what if you want to stream a defenseman for this weekend? The number one guy I would grab is Noah Dobson, somehow only 31% rostered, and he's looking pretty good. Noah Dobson is the top power play guy in the Islanders, and he's been putting up a lot of peripherals. He's shooting, he's blocking, and he's putting up points. So Dobson is definitely someone who should be owned in a lot more leagues. Next, I have Josh Morrissey, who's actually seeing top power play time right now in Winnipeg with Scheifele, with Wheeler. That's a pretty solid place to be, and he's also a guy who puts up some pretty decent peripherals. Esther Lindell is also someone that puts up a very safe floor, as I already mentioned before. Next, I have Nate Schmidt, who's seeing second power play time right now, which isn't bad, and he'll put up some blocks, but the peripherals aren't super crazy with Schmidt, but definitely not the worst streamer. Then I have Brandon Dillon, who will put up a relatively safe floor with hits and blocks, but probably won't score you a point. Then I have Jeff Petrie, who has a little bit of upside since he does see some power play time in Montreal, but he hasn't been his normal self this year, so I'm not super high on him, but definitely an option. I have Artem Zub of the Ottawa Senators. He's someone who will put up some hits and some blocks. He won't put up anything crazy, but he will give you at least a little bit of a safe floor. Then I have Ryan Pulock, who's finally back from his injury. He was out a long time, but he's someone who blocks a few shots. Not really going to put up points for you, but it will give you a little bit of a safe floor. Then I have Alexander Romanov, who will give you a safe floor in the sense that he hits a lot. So if you're in a hitting league, he will put up a floor for you. If you're not in a hitting league, don't even consider Alexander Romanov. Then I have Ryan Suter, who has no floor at all, but will potentially put up an assist for you. He puts up one every couple games or so. Then I have Ben Sherratt, who is also someone who likes to put up a lot of peripherals. Unfortunately, in Montreal, he'll probably go in the negatives for plus minus. And lately, he hasn't been putting up so many peripherals, but still not a terrible pickup. And then the last three guys on this list, if you have to pick them up only if you're like super desperate, I probably wouldn't touch any of these guys. But Adam Pelech, Nikita Zaitsev, and Eric Brandstrom, don't love any of these guys, but they offer somewhat of a floor. So now we're jumping into the categories league section of this video, and basically if you're really close in shots on goal and you want to make sure you do come out on top and you want to know which guy you should stream to win that category, well, you've come to the right place. The number one guy I would grab is Andrew Kopp. He shoots 2.8 times per game, and because he's playing 2 games this weekend, you'll get at least 5 shots on goal from just him, which is, pretty nice. And Oliver Wahlstrom shoots 2.7 times per game. Tyler Toffoli also 2.7. Mike Hoffman 2.6. Dobson 2.5. Cole Caulfield 2.4. And Nick Paul 2.4 as well. If you need blocks, the number one guy to add is Ryan Pulock, who's been blocking on average 2.7 shots per game so far this season. The sample size is relatively small though since he has been injured, so take that with a grain of salt, but he's pretty decent at blocking shots. Then Noah Dobson blocks 2.1 shots per game. Esa Lindell also 2.1 shots per game. Artem Zub 1.9. And Nikita Zaitsev 1.8. If you need hits, the number one guy, and it's not even close, it's Cal Clutterbuck of the New York Islanders. He hits 4.1 times per game. You get him for 2 games, he'll hit at least 8 times for you probably, so that's pretty great. Then Matt Martin, 3.6 hits per game. Alexander Romanov, 3.6 hits per game. Lowry, 2.9 hits per game. And Austin Watson, 2.9 as well. If you need face-off wins, I kind of already alluded to this, but Christian Dvorak is your guy. He wins 10 face-offs per game, which is fantastic. So over 2 games, he'll win you probably 20 face-offs, and that could definitely help you secure that category. Pajot wins 9.4. Casey Cizikas wins 7.3. It's a pretty steep drop-off there. Brock Nelson wins 6.7, Adam Lowry 6.6, and Andrew Kopp 6.5. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. I hope you guys enjoyed the content today. I hope this helps you guys, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.